I am here to tell you that I did, in fact, leave. Okay, we're doing it. First of all, if I have all the people that I told to subscribe to my YouTube channel because my life update was gonna be posted here, hello. Ravi de vous voir ici, si vous êtes là. I appreciate the dedication. I know I have not spoken about this in about a month. I think I have been cryptic on Instagram, or I've at least tried to be cryptic, but here we are. Hey, you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We have not done this in a while, and yes, there is an obvious change in the setting, but it's bigger than just the room changing. And that is what we're going to talk about today. Today, all the suspense, all the drama ends because I am here to tell you that I did, in fact, leave Canada. Temporarily, at least for now. Temporarily. I am born and brought up in Mauritius. I left Mauritius when I was 17, and then actually, no, correction. I left Mauritius when I was 19. I started a new life in Canada as a student. I went there for my university studies. And then I graduated in 2022. I was living in Nova Scotia, Wolfville. Shout out to the Wolfville people. And then Canada, I left Mauritius because obviously, and I had the opportunity to leave Mauritius and to be in a place where I idealized, I romanticized, and I thought that that would be the perfect place where I could be myself. And I truly was. I developed into, or I flourished into a unfettered version of myself, and I will always be grateful for that. But I didn't realize that I was gonna be in a really tiny place like Wolfville. My wings really grew in Canada, and then because I was in Wolfville, I felt like I was encaged and I couldn't really take a flight with the new wings that I had gotten. And then out of nowhere came my first ever Europe trip last summer. During that trip, I had the best time of my life. It was, as people usually talk about Europe trips, it was life altering. And I came back to Canada and all I would talk about is how bad I wanted to have a life in Europe or live a European life eventually. And I didn't know that I was manifesting that the whole time. This whole idea of being in Europe, and I would just frivolously throw that away. I think it was that was a thing that that was a thing that I would talk about even before I went on this Europe trip. Like, the way I would describe myself is truly, I love the nomadic lifestyle. I am someone who has a spiritual, existential quest for just living in different countries. I feel like the world is like truly my oyster and I want to explore every aspect of the world. And I would always talk about Europe, like, you know, like the idealized, romanticized way. I want to move to Europe. I want to move to Europe. And my Europe trip last summer really like changed how I understood Europe, because it was the first time I was like, oh, I was in Barcelona and I was in Berlin, two of the most accepting, out there cities where I was wearing whatever I wanted. I was just doing whatever I wanted. So I really like that added to the romanticization. And then I came back to Canada and all I would talk about was one day I would love to just, you know, go off to Europe and just live there for a few years and whatnot. So that is the whole like living in Europe side. And then there's the work side. If you've known me for a while, or I feel like even if you've known me for a little while, one thing you would know about me is how badly I always wanted to be a professor. I've always spoken about wanting to teach, but I've always been very specific that I do not want to teach in primary school or high school. I've always said that, one day I want to get my PhD and I want to eventually teach in a university. Not knowing that I was manifesting it the whole time. So last year, first of all, shout out to Nateo. If you're watching this, babes, you're that bitch. The universe really listens to you and will send people to you when the time is right. I randomly met Nateo, I'm gonna put his picture somewhere, at the gym at Acadia. And he had come from France. Nateo kept telling me that you need to apply to be a lecturer, you need to apply to be a lecturer. And I was like, babes, that's not gonna work out for me. Nateo comes in the fall, leaves at the end of winter. And, when he leaves, so does the idea of like applying for that was never really a reality. Like I'd never thought about, I'm actually going to do it, even though other people told me to actually. So the universe was like guiding me this whole time. And at the end of fall of last year, start of winter, I had already made the decision that I will leave Nova Scotia and I would move to Montreal because I was like, that's it. I am taking a leap of faith. I owe myself my 20s, which I felt like I had lost living in Wolfville. So I was like, that's it. I am in the summer of 2025, I am moving to Montreal. My entire energy was being put in moving to Montreal. I was looking for jobs and I was just like trying to apply for jobs in Montreal in winter of 2025. And then suddenly Nateo texts, I don't know if I was talking to Nateo or what we were doing, but he was just like, the lecture applications have come out. You need to apply right now. And I was like, what? Because mind you, my full energy is in Montreal right now. And he was like, just apply. And I was talking to my other friend who lives in Berlin, Sasha. We were just kind of talking about, because I was like, I should come to Europe again to see you, because last time I was in Berlin, we hung out together. And I think it's just like while talking to him, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to apply for the thing because I just was like, I'm going to apply. Mind you, did not really take it seriously whatsoever. Even though going to Europe was like my biggest dream, I was just like, it's just not doable. Like I kept doubting it and I was like, Montreal is the most feasible one because I'm in Nova Scotia. I'm in the same fucking country already. I casually was like the last day of application. I put the application in. It's a week goes by and I was still like, whatever. And I remember one morning I had woken up and I had been like, I'm spending all this energy to go to Montreal. What if I just get that opportunity in France? So I follow up and I was told that, we're just waiting for whether they want to go or not. And then we'll get back to you. And I was like, in my head, I was like, whatever, like someone else is going to get it. 2 days later, I get an email and they're like, the position is yours if you want it. Now I have to pivot my entire plan. Mind you, I had not signed an apartment lease, so I had no place to live for the summer. This job in France was going to start in fall. Now I have to start. There's so much. So I call my friend, I call Nateo, and I call my mom and I'm like, what the fuck do I do? Because this is like this is a critical juncture of my life right now. I have to make this big decision and both of them were like, take France. And it was for the opportunity to teach in a university. Two of my biggest dreams, be a Euro girly, teach in a university, was being offered to me. How could I have said no? From February of 2025 to September 2025 is how long the process was for me to come to France. From February, once I got confirmed, then after there was 2 universities that had to confirm me. There was so much confirmation that I was just anticipating and constantly waiting for from February to September. The university, trying to find an apartment last minute, I kept getting fucked over. There was so much, I can't even summarize it, nor do I want to live through any of them again. But I will forever remember that the feelings that I have felt from February to September. I had already finalized an apartment in France. After a month and a half of talking up to this rental agency, the apartment fell apart. Like the contract fell apart. Last minute they told me, oh, we need someone who's gonna be living for more than a year. And that is when I had my first like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm gonna leave. I haven't signed a lease. I do not want to be in Wolfville anymore. I've completely let go of the plan of moving to Montreal, and I've put all my eggs in one basket purely on faith that this is going to work out. That was my first shake up of like, this apartment is not going to fall through. Like, and it required so much fucking energy. I can't even tell you guys. It was the apartment, it was the visa. I had to do the whole thing on my own, figure out how to do it on my own. And if you've heard about the French administration, let's just say they probably look up to turtles and tortoises on their time process. That's just one way to put it. I had to scrape up my entire savings for this. And I'm telling you all of that because I want to tie it all up together in the end. Spending thousands of dollars to fly to Toronto, to apply in person, and then wait over a month. I was supposed to be in France for middle of August. I got here on the 2nd of September and I was going to teach on 6th of September. Guys, any dreams you have, be so unabashed and unapologetic about them when you talk about them. I would talk about Europe and teaching as if they were matter of fact things. I would talk about these things like, I don't give a fuck. They are going to happen no matter what. Number 2, trust the timing of the universe. When I was living in Wolfville and I would see my friends leave, people who I know leave, and I would just be like, that's supposed to be me. I am supposed to be the person who leaves this fucking place, yet everyone is leaving and I'm still there, stuck. Little did I know that I had to be there for 6 years for this opportunity to come to me to finally get to be in Europe. So trust the fucking divine timing. Nateo coming into my life. Imagine I met this guy through someone else at the gym. And that is how I'm here today. August was the most testing time where I was like, okay, never in my life I have made such a big life decision and put all my eggs in one basket. When I moved from Mauritius to Canada, I had my home to fall back on in Mauritius. I had my family, because even when I was coming to Canada, my visa, I got it 2 days before I had to fly. And this time I was like, I don't have an apartment. I had already resigned from my job because you have to resign two weeks prior. And I don't know, forget when I'm gonna get the visa. At that point, I had started being like, what if the visa even gets rejected? Like, what the fuck am I going to do? Then out of nowhere, the universe made me somehow interested in astrophysics. I have no idea how. I am someone who will hyperfixate over things. And out of no fucking where, I started hyperfixating on astrophysics. And I watched the movie Interstellar, which I wrote about because it just changed how I understood fate and time and coincidences. In Interstellar, it's the dad who was guiding the girl. The dad from the future was guiding the girl from the past. So I was like, if that is not a sign for me to because when it came to Europe, I just had a gut feeling. I was like, that is my calling. I feel it in my gut, and me are like this. My intuition and I are like this. I was like, I don't care. I know this is going to work out. I would pray, I would journal. And then watching Interstellar, I am a very spiritual person. For me, Interstellar is spiritual as fuck. I don't care what you... It's scientific, but it's spiritual. It's metaphysical. I wrote about it again. From Interstellar, I somehow found myself going into Hindu mythology. Once I got down the rabbit hole of Hindu mythology, I randomly, out of nowhere, I started watching Mahabharata. Now, me as a person, I used to be so scared, so anxious of uncertainty. That is the first time in my life where literally my entire life was at stake. And somehow I was able to find some kind of anchor through spirituality, metaphysics, and Hindu mythology, my religion, my faith. Watching the tests that the characters in Mahabharata had to go through, how karma works, how dharma, which I don't know how to translate, it's like your duty as a person on earth, does not even translate well. Dharma is at the crux of Hinduism. And I was like, you know what? I believe in... I just had this unwavering faith in that it's all gonna work out eventually. And then one day I woke up and while I had faith, I also was like just at the height of anxiety because I was like, the clock is ticking. So, like, I need my fucking visa now. And I remember this morning vividly. I woke up and I just felt my faith dwindling. And it was the week of Ganesh Chaturthi. And I called my mom and I'm like, I don't know, my faith is just dwindling. And she was like, nope, just trust the universe. And she went and prayed for me that day. 3 hours later, I get a text. My visa has been approved and it's on the way. Once again, people, whatever it is you believe in, if you're an atheist, whether you're extremely religious, whether you're just spiritual, faith is the one thing that will get you through anything in life. Like, this is a fucking living, breathing example of that. Cut to from February. Today it is the 27th of September. I have been in France for close to a month. And sometimes when I'm in class teaching, or if I'm just walking around and these are the visuals I get to see, I just take a minute or two and I just revel in the fact that what I'm living right now is straight out of here. It's the life that I had manifested. It's the life that I had wanted, to just be in Europe. And this other life that I had manifested, to be teaching in a university. And the universe said, I'm going to give you both. Touch wood. Touch wood. I hope when you are watching this, the biggest takeaway is to just be so unabashed about your dreams, about the things that you want from life. This is not to say that I'm out here, like living in this candy land. Every good will come with its bad. You can't have one without the other in life. That's the whole point of life. And the reason why I'm saying that is so I'm realistic. I wake up every day and I express gratitude to Mahadev and the universe. But at the same time, there are days where it's challenging, it's struggling. I miss my friends. My confidence has been all over the place because wounds that I had thought I had healed are resurfacing and are being scratched up again. But through it all, it's also about your perspective. It's also about what you do with the situations that you're given in life. This is what I had wanted, right? And now that I have it and I'm also facing some challenges, do I only focus on the challenges and cry about it and moan about it and become the victim? Or should I constantly express gratitude for where I am and the life that I'm living and take these challenges head on and as lessons, just to add to the growth that I'm experiencing as a person? That's truly on you as an individual. I hope that all of you are able to realize your wishes, your manifestations, your dream life. And when you are living your dream life and you're facing adversity, you are able to also allow yourself to experience the spectrum of emotions. I think that is the whole point of life, is to just be a witness to complex, opposing, conflicting emotions, and sometimes choose which ones you want to revel in. And most of all, I'm just really happy and really proud of myself. And all of this is for the little me, for the little Rudraksh. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. Um, now that the cat is out of the bag, I'm excited to be able to just put out content and yeah, just live this shit up, you know?